Hi, I'm Mel Fitzsimmons and I'm a social media specialist. How I got into social media is probably a little bit different to how people will nowadays, because when I was at school, social media wasn't really a thing. It wasn't until I got into university and I knew I wanted to be in the arts and entertainment industry. And I started engaging with a music society and volunteering with them, where I started running their Facebook page just to help bring tickets to the event. That really got me interest into social media, and from then I started getting into social media where I could. I built more of a Facebook page. I started running the social media accounts for my part-time jobs, such as a restaurant and a bar where they didn't have social media accounts yet because it wasn't quite yet a thing. During my time at university, I then took the opportunity to take an internship. Lucky enough to get an internship at Warner Brothers, where I was involved in not particularly social media, but all types of marketing across entertainment and arts, and I kind of started getting a feel for what I wanted to do. When I graduated, I then got my first proper job in Brighton as a social media and PR assistant, because I'd had that kind of social media experience under my belt from volunteering, starting to build up different businesses' social media accounts, just volunteering and doing it for free. From that role, it was an interesting job because I actually knew more about social media than the business owner did, because back then, like I said, it was a grey area. People didn't really use social media 15 years ago on businesses as much as they do now. Within that role, I had to teach myself a lot about different channels, particularly Facebook, Twitter and LinkedIn, because all the other channels didn't exist then. I really honed my skills then, and after a few years building my way up into different roles, I was a marketing executive and then a senior marketing executive in a different company. I finally landed my dream job within 2 music festivals as a marketing manager. Although I didn't particularly have events background in my experience, because of my kind of portfolio of all these social media accounts I built off my own back, my volunteering work at university kind of helped me land that job. And then within that role, I did that for 3 years, and it was so much fun. I ran all the social media accounts. I did the paid social media. After 3 years, we actually managed to double the 2 festivals in size. We also won Events Team of the Year at the Festival Awards. After that, I decided to move on to something more kind of bigger. It was Stylist Live, which was an annual women's festival for 21,000 capacity. So it was bigger budgets, bigger expectations, and I actually got awarded best use of social media for a campaign I worked on at Stylist Live. So after doing that for 2 or 3 years, I then decided to take the leap into freelancing, which I've now been doing for, again, nearly 3 years. I freelance across all different clients, particularly social media. I wanted to stay in the events, but as a freelancer, you kind of take what you get. So I've had all different clients, including HMV. I've worked for different charities, including Crystal Palace Festival, the Drinks Trust, different things like that, all running their social media, doing paid campaigns. And that kind of leads me to where I am today. Social media, the most important thing is to actually be passionate about social media. You have to live and breathe it. You have to know all the changes that constantly come about on every single different channel, including Instagram, Pinterest, things like that are constantly changing their algorithms. So being up to date with it and, spending pretty much a lot of your time on them, so you know all the different things about the channels, is so important. So that's why I think being interested in social media is probably the most important thing. I think beyond that, creativity, because you have the option to be so creative in your content, in your captions, in your writing. Also, just being able to copyright is quite important, because writing captions for different types of channels is a really important skill. I think the other thing is kind of being organised and time management. You could have something that comes in the morning that you have to be really responsive with. So being able to be organised and time manage yourself to be able to respond to things quickly, but also being able to schedule things in advance and managing different channels with different content and different captions. So I'd say organisation and creativity and passion. I don't think there's any one particular right route into social media. Nowadays, everyone's a social media specialist, you know. Everyone spends their time on different channels daily, posting, writing, being funny. It's, you know, it's part of most people's lives, particularly younger people. So I think the first step is knowing that you want to be into that, and then there's lots of different avenues. You know, reaching out to local businesses and just seeing if you can volunteer with them and get work experience is one route. You know, building up your own channels and just seeing what works and how to, you know, run a blog for a business or something. You can always practice different things with social media. You don't have to go down a particular educational route to get to it. It's all just about, you know, being social savvy and being creative. But if you did want to do, you know, if you did want to start to go down the educational route, there's actually a lot of just online free courses that you can do. YouTube, you can learn anything you want from YouTube. The actual channels themselves, including like Facebook Academy, Hootsuite Academy, you know, they're again online courses through the actual platforms that you can take to give yourself qualifications. There isn't a particular qualification that you need to get into social media. I'd say from school, in terms of A levels, the kind of things that you would want to do is English literature or English language, media studies are quite important, even like business studies if you can. These are kind of, you know, you'll learn basic skills, and even communications as well. You'll learn basic skills in those kind of classes and A levels that will help you in the future. There isn't, I would actually say, don't feel like you have to have had qualifications to get into it, because if you are passionate and you like what you're doing, you love social media, and you can prove to someone just by showing them, you know, what you've done online, that is actually a step in the door with a lot of companies. I myself have taken on interns at festivals to help me across the weekend, who just on the basis of their own channels and what they do. So I'd say if you wanted to do it, the kind of A levels you should do. But again, there's also a lot of free courses out there that you could try and get as well. It's a tricky one with social media. I think averagely, as a career, if you're a social media manager, you're looking at about 30,000. But, you know, if you're a freelancer, you can earn upwards of that from having on lots of different clients and whatever your day rate is. But there's also, you know, as myself coming as a freelancer, there's the days where you might not have clients or things might drop because, like the COVID times, events all go down the toilet and there's no income. But I think, you know, it's quite a steady career in terms of entry level. You're looking at 18,000, slowly building your way up to 20, 25 maybe for an exec, and 30,000 probably around that for a manager. But actually, there's the sky's the limit as freelancing. If you wanted to take on more, if you could organise enough to have a lot of clients, you know, and you can manage that, there's the capability to earn more if you wanted to. I think volunteering is a really good idea if you want to get into social media. There is all companies, social media is such a big, vast thing that people will need to be on it 24/7, posting all the time, and constantly engaged with conversations, that businesses are always looking to take on people to help with that, even if it's just community management and responding to comments and queries and things like that come through social media. So I would suggest the first thing that you do is find the industry, or think about the industry you want to get to. If you want to get into events, then start reaching out to your local festivals, your local events companies and things that go on, and just put yourself out there and ask if you can volunteer with them or get some work experience with them. Even just messaging them through social media itself. The other thing I'd say in terms of experience is just spend your time learning all the channels yourself. Again, I wouldn't say niche yourself onto a channel of social media, because nowadays all businesses want all channels to be active on all channels, but really learn particular skills on channels. You know, go on your Instagram account and post stories daily, go on lives, understand how the channels work and what you should be doing, so that when you do get into a company and you do work experience, you can show them how good you actually are, and maybe you'd get a job off the back of that anyway. I think it's really hard to say what the long-term career prospects are with social media, because no one knows where social media is going. You know, like I said, when I first was at school, there wasn't even, Facebook didn't even exist. Instagram only existed when I got into university. So there's gonna be, channels are gonna grow. I think influencer marketing is a real big thing at the moment in terms of being able to learn about how to engage with people and use people rather than channels. So I think you've got to be adaptable and, you know, continuously learn with social media. So career path-wise, you know, you could grow with social media in itself, but I think you could have a long-term career with it, but I couldn't say what that is, because who knows what the future holds for social media. Say with social media, as you're getting into it as a career, could probably progress you into a lot of different ways. Digital marketing in itself, it's all part of the same strategy. So as you're doing social, you'll start learning about paid social media. You then start learning about paid digital, like Google Ads and PPC and SEO, and all the kind of digital landscape builds up. So if you weren't just interested in social media, there's a lot of bigger pictures that you could learn. I think another thing is design. A lot of businesses nowadays don't just want someone who's good at social media, they want someone who's good at design, so you can design the artwork and make assets, make videos and video editing and all that kind of stuff. So, asset and graphic design and illustration is another thing that'd be a really important skill to have with social media. That actually maybe you could decide to go down and start creating artwork for other companies and for things beyond social media, for email marketing and for website design and things like that. So it's all kind of part of the same thing that you could grow into if you wanted to, but it's just seeing what you'd prefer to do. But I myself am a freelancer now. So for the past 3 years, I pick my own hours. I pick my own clients now because I want to work with who I'm passionate about and what I want to do. So I have a lot of freedom. I think, that obviously comes with the cons of sometimes you might not have work and sometimes, you might be looking for it. But if freedom as a lifestyle is what you want, freelancing nowadays there's so much demand for freelancers, and as social media itself, because it's digital based, you can do it on your laptop anywhere in the world. So I would say it's probably one of the best careers paths to go down as if you wanted freedom, because you can do it from anywhere. You just need a laptop and internet. If you're interested in trying to get some more courses or just kind of take the step into social media, I suggest finding online courses either from platforms themselves, such as Facebook and Facebook's Academy, such as Hootsuite. The Hootsuite have a really great online courses. And there's also, you've got Chartered Institute of Marketing, which you can get social media qualifications from. And also just looking around on the platforms themselves, such as Google, run a lot of free online courses as well. As a young person on social media today, you're probably more savvy than a lot of the business owners out there. So don't be afraid to put yourself out there.